Okay, so here's a game. It's actually classic constructed of Chane versus Rhinar. So the list I'm playing is kind of it's sort of a mashup of there's a person on the general Discord called JTS. I believe they're Australian. It's their list. For the most part, I think I end up swapping a few things just to try them out. I think I end up putting Command and Conquerors back in because I tried out Talisman of Warfare in a couple of uh, live just armories with CC Chane. I kind of found it's okay. It's a little underwhelming. It seems like pretty decent in theory because it turns on Bounding Demagon, etc., and this and that. But the things I do want to play are the Tome of Torments, which I hadn't tried before. I'm not sure this is the best chain list. I think the list that's by Joe Cologne of the team Hyperlooped is probably the best one, but I'm not really a chain expert, so it's a little hard for me to say, despite it being my favorite hero, because I think it just plays in the most interesting way. So I think I unfortunately started recording a little bit after I did sideboarding, but which is unfortunate because I should have seen how I was going to sideboard against Rhinar. I'm going to be very aggressive. I want to try and be the beatdown to put in that parlance. I'm expecting to just play a bunch of intimidate attacks and just come at me, with high numbers. And so I think the fact that I can go wide and much wider than their hand, I think my numbers should beat their numbers. So that's my hope. And so I want to die roll and decide to go first, because my plan as Chane is you just create a Rune Chant, create a Soul Shackle, and that's it. And since I have Art of War in hand, I spent a little bit of time thinking if I want to keep the Shadow of Ursa in my hand and instead just pitch the other two reds. But I think I really want Minnowism in case I end up banishing a Bounding Demagon, or just have one in my hand. It's just a very good buff. It's +3, so I'm just hoping uh, I can use the Art of War on something else, which is maybe a little bit of a loose play. So in case it's not obvious, Shadow of Ursa has Blood Debt, right? So ideally you would play Art of War, banish the Shadow of Ursa, and draw 2 more. And then Art of War, I think almost always you want to use the buff and not the go again, because the buff is just crazy. And so if you can banish the Shadow of Ursa, then you'll draw 2 more. And Shadow of Ursa is playable from Banish Zone, right? So that's one way to think about it. But then I lose these 2 reds, and the Tome of Torment's kind of whatever, I think, in this context. But the Minnowism's pretty decent, right? So that's a pretty good buff. So I thought I wanted to keep that around, and then just hope that one of my next 2 cards is a Blood Debt card, and it turns out both of them are. So I'm in pretty decent shape. So I think my opponent, one disadvantage that I've never played Brute. I think I played it once in like a draft, right? But I've never actually played as Brute, so I'm actually super unfamiliar with most of the cards except for um, I don't even remember the name of the card, like their super mega card that draws 2 cards and buffs everything. Barraging Beatdown, I guess. No, that's not it. Whichever card. I know the card when I see the art. But anyway, so they're coming in with 11, and it's just vanilla damage. So I'm just gonna take it to the face because I don't really want to spend Husk on just vanilla damage. So yeah, I think with Chane, at least as far as when I've been playing it, uh, you don't want to use your armor super aggressively. You obviously want to use it as if you want to use it if it pushes you under 13, because you don't want to lose your Husk for nothing. But you don't want to use Husk just arbitrarily. So I think you use Husk when you start to like. I think, in my opinion, at least when I play it, is before you get into like low single digits, or low like double digit, like low in the low tens or whatever, or into single digits, because you want to be in a position where it's not going to banish itself, obviously, and you want to use it so that you're never in like 1 turn kill range or 2 turn kill range. You want to use it set your life as at a position that you can still put a lot of pressure on them. That's my thinking anyway. And I'm like I said at the beginning, I'm not a chain expert at all, so I just enjoy playing it. So I'm going to banish and buff. I think I'm probably going to banish the Ghostly Visit rather than that Tome, because I want to maybe play that Ghostly Visit at some point. And I draw into 2 Minnowisms, so that's pretty ridiculous. So I'm going to do Minnowism, another Minnowism. I think I might do Chane. Yeah, it's that way the Bounty Demagon is now coming in for quite a lot, right? So it's +6, it's +8 total. So yeah, it's plus 7 from the Minnowism, it's plus 1 from the Art of War. So that's why it's the plus 8. So it's 11 with Go Again from Chane, which yeah, that's quite a lot. So I think they end up blocking with a lot of this. Like they end up blocking a lot of the damage with maybe a lot of their equipment, but we'll see in a second. And then you can see me looking through the discard, figure out what brew cards actually do. It's one disadvantage of not being very diverse in my hero choices, but you know, Fab's it's a hard game to just like explore every class. So yeah, I take a lot of cards out of hand, leave them with 2 cards. That's great. I don't think they should have blocked that aggressively, maybe, but I guess that maybe they thought the other 2 cards were useful enough that they wanted to keep them. So so I go with the Rosetta. That's going to do 2 and 2, and I think I just Arsenal the Tome. Yeah, my hand right now is actually this hand is very awkward, but we'll see what happens after they go. So I play Wild Ride, and I think all of their things end up activating because it's Rhinar. So it's 6 with Go Again. I think I end up getting because I play Skullcap now because I'm not sure I'll ever be below them again, depending on what I banish. So I wanted to get my life value now. This is 3. I might just block with maybe with the grass. Should I just take it? Yeah, I just take it. That's fine. It has no on hits. I didn't really care too much. So I've banished. So I have 3 blood deck cards. If I can play them all, that'd be fantastic. Play Garganian Tome. That's going to turn on my Bounding Demagon. Shadow Puppetry is an excellent top deck there. That's going to give Go Again without me wasting Chane or wasting. And I don't really want to waste the Captain's Call and Go Again. I really prefer playing them for the buff rather than the Go Again. And Shadow Puppetry it was quite good. So I think I play the Ghostly Visit to try and make them either play 2 cards or use equipment, or I just get the shadow buff or the benefit. So if it hits, I can banish the top card of my deck, and hopefully it's a blood deck card. But it's not always. But we'll see. So Ghostly's coming in for 5, the buff from Shadow Puppetry. I think they might block with 1 card. They might just end up taking it. Yeah, so they take the 5. And it's a Bounding Blue. It's not the best one, but it's a free attack. So play Chane. I think I'm gonna play Tome. So that has Go Again now because I draw the card. And so the reason I play Tome there is so I have a Riftbind in Banish, so it's gonna buff that. The other thing is because I have a Belittle in hand. So if I can play Belittle, and if I find, depending on what attack I have, I can play the Belittle, and that's another 3 Go Again. And I can fetch up a Minnowism to help pay for either a Rune Chant or something else. And so that's what happens. I get a Bounding Demagon Blue. I think if I were smarter, if I were really planning ahead, what I should have done with the Shadow Puppetry is not banish that Bounding Demagon, knowing that was what's going to draw with the Tome, and then played it that way. But I guess, better lucky than good. So I'm going to play Belittle. I have to pitch the Captain's Call in order to play it. This is good. The last time I played Chane, actually, Belittle wasn't quite working, but now it works perfectly. So obviously I played the 2 red Minnowisms earlier, if you were keeping track, on turn 2, so now I just have the blues, which is totally fine. So I think I play Riftbind. So it's coming in for 1. And the reason I'm playing it, so I could have played the Minnowism, right, and buffed to give the Riftbind the extra non-attack action buff, but I don't want to do that. What I want to do is be able to play this off of creepers to get another action point. And incidentally, if you play it during the attack reaction step or during this chain link, it'll buff Riftbind because it always is. The Riftbind effect is always looking to see how many non-attacks you played. Yep, so pitch the dumb bounding blue. Gonna play this guy. I mean, the effect is not going to do anything. I mean, it's just all I'm doing is just getting an action point. And I think I spent a second thinking maybe I should just play the bounding, but no, it's like no, I obviously need to attack with arcane damage. They have no AB. They have no arcane barriers, so I want to be able to ping them, which is great. That means I'll be able to do creepers again with no problem. So this second turn, so that was turn 3, right? So turn 1 I did no damage. Turn 2 I did some minimal amount of damage. Turn 3 I did something like 14 or so damage. That's Chane. And so now in this next turn, I have kind of an interesting setup. So I have Art of War, which I really want to play because I like the buff, but I don't have a Blood Deck card to banish. So let me back up a second. So they at this point I'm at 25, and they come in with another like giant attack. And if I don't block this, then I'll be at 13, right? Which means that they could just they would just pass or something, and I'd lose the husk for nothing. So that's why I'm playing it out now. And I think I just end up playing the grasp just to try and keep myself. So this keeps my life total high, but it also keeps it lower than there. So now I'm at 15, so they won't be able to get skull cap on the first hit. So look at my banishes. I have those 2 bounding blues, and that's it. So I think I'm going to play the Art of War. Probably banish this Blittle. Because I want to pitch the blue for it. Yeah, so I pitch the Vexing. Gonna banish and draw. And then I think here I might get the go again. No. Yeah, good. I did the buff. I was gonna say watching this back, if I did the go again, I should be mad at myself. That's not really the thing you ever want to do if you can avoid it. So I'm gonna play Shadow Puppetry, which is again an extremely good card. That lets me play a Bounding for free. Because it has go again. What I mean for free there is that I don't have to spend Chane on it, and I can spend Chane on something else. So it's coming in for 4, the Art of War buff, Bounding's own buff, plus Shadow Puppetry buff. So it's a blue that's coming in as a 0 for 4, which is quite a good rate of return. So that hits, and oh no, sorry, he blocks with Reckless Swing, and I believe I might did I take the 2 damage? I don't think so. No, he pitches because he lost Blood Rush Bellow. Oh, Blood Rush Bellow is the card I'm thinking of. That was the card I was thinking of at the beginning of this video. So I activate Chane. I'm gonna play probably the other Bounding Demagon, which I think comes in for just 3 now. Yep. But one advantage now is that I can still use creepers to play this tome and draw a card. Or actually, I could use creepers to just play Revel in Runeblood. That's probably the smarter play, which is exactly what I do. Yeah, so use creeper, play Revel in Runeblood, get my action point back, and now since I drew into this flock, which is a very good card to have, so I'm coming with Rosetta SS is going to come in for a total of 8 damage, 4 rune chance plus the 2/2. And again, since they don't have AB, they're gonna be taking a lot of damage unless they want to actually pay into the skull cap. Which, I mean, if they do that, that's perfectly fine. Trade by me. Yeah, I think they do end up pitching for the skull cap. I think I don't know if I would have done that. They did. That would have put them at 6, right? Which is fine, but it depends on what the other card was. I didn't actually catch it just now in that video. What they'd want to do. So here it's kind of unfortunate. So I think they play Barkbone, and they rolled a 1. That's quite sad, but yeah, that's just what happens sometimes when you play Barkbone's Trap. So they gain no resources because I think they wanted to. I think they probably had a red and wanted a resource to try and attack with the claw. That's my guess. So at this point, so my hand is sorry, I paused this when this is covered. There's a flock of the Featherwalkers in Arsenal, and I have Shadow Puppetry, Howl, Riftbind, and this blue Minnows them, right? So I can play Shadow, play the Flock, and that'll get me, uh, and then reveal Riftbind, and then I'll have my Quicken tokens. I'll have go again no matter what. And the Shadow Puppetry lets me use the Quicken token right away. Yeah, so I think I pitched the Minnowism, reveal Riftbind. So that's 6. I have a Quicken token. I want to reveal Shadow of Ursa, which I decided to banish. So I think in my banish zone now I have 2 Shadow of Ursas. Yeah, and the Carrion Husk. So that's my blood debt. So I think I just play. I might play the Shadow now. I might have just like had a. I think I might have forgotten that I had the Quicken token. I'm gonna play Shadow and banish Howl. I think. Well, we'll see what I do in a second. Yeah, I completely forgot that I had the Quicken token available. So I didn't need to banish the Howl. That was an obvious error. That you should always look at the entire tableau and make sure your actions are most efficient. So that was kind of a waste of Shadow. I could have just kept the Howl for other resources or something. I like to create a rune chant and attack or something like that. So I think I use Chane to just play the other Shadow rather than banish this Riftbind. Because I think what I'm planning to do, I believe I want to either play. Yeah, what I should have, I think I wanted to Arsenal the Riftbind, but I should have just create a rune chant and then come in, and that would have come in for lethal. But I think they end up just taking this damage. Yeah, I think at this point they just end up not blocking because they saw the writings on the wall. But yeah. So that was Chane versus Rhinar. Okay, thanks for watching.